As spring rears its head, so does the beginning of the summer blockbuster movie season. Next week, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice will be released, and if you count the Batman and Superman movies dating back to Adam West as the Dark Knight and Christopher Reeve as Superman, this will be the 15th sequel to the movie franchise. According to Stanley J. Barron, author of Media Literacy and Culture, with the exception of movies Titanic and Avatar, every top 20 all-time box office champion is a sequel or part of a franchise. This is a result of what Barron calls blockbuster mentality, filmmaking that is characterized by reduced risk-taking and more formulaic movies. As a direct result of blockbuster mentality, Barron writes business concerns dominate artistic considerations as accountants and financiers make more decisions once made by creative people. Rebecca Dumaine and Danielle Siegel both graduated from Northwestern University, one with a degree in theater and the other with a degree in dance. The two Northwestern graduates are familiar with the relationship between high-budget productions and the effect that can have on a performance.
I think it's pretty inescapable for the money to affect the outcome of the art.
The business people out in LA tend to go for something that they can franchise.
Batman and Superman are part of DC Comics, and the beginning of the Justice League franchise is likely an answer to the success of the Marvel movies, which are owned by Disney. Disney is a notable conglomerate that just famously restarted the Star Wars franchise.
Like Disney was, I was always watching Disney. I have mountains of those VHS boxes that kind of make the funny noises when you open them. Watched every single Disney Channel original movie. So I'm definitely a Disney child, grown up and now just still watches Disney stuff.
Nothing will stand in our way.
I still don't like the idea that like I could go to Disney World and see Darth Vader. Like that's just not, it's not right. If they want to make like a Star Wars world, fine, I'll go there. But don't plop Vader in the middle of Disney. Come on.
One effect Conglomeration can have on movies and storytelling is an increase in action, a decrease in original narrative storytelling, and a decrease in our level of expectations when viewers go to the movies.
When I go to watch a Marvel movie, I'm like, I'm gonna go see some explosions and some very attractive superheroes, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
Hold on.
The upcoming release of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice will be the fourth Batman and the third Superman movie released just in the last 10 years. Now, while some are arguing that the increase of movie sequels is due to the effects of conglomeration, I spoke earlier with a DePaul professor of theater that spoke to me about the difference between movie sequels and theater, where there is a tradition of performing the same play over and over, some of which are hundreds, if not thousands of years old.
We go to see Shostakovich or a symphony to see how that violin player plays it that night. Whereas film is static. It is what it is, and it doesn't matter what happens in the culture.
In my mind, they do and they should serve such different purposes.
There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
My biggest experience with all the Batman movies was all of the ones that had Christian Bale in them, which in my mind are like just really great movies.
When a studio gets with a producer and a director and they're allowed to take some risks and give the audience a little credit for being smart, I think you can make really, really challenging films that are also will satisfy that blockbuster, action movie motif.
Where are they?
I'll go back to the Batman with Christopher Nolan. I mean, some very, very adult, complex themes, going on in those films.
You have nothing to threaten me with, nothing to do with all your strength.
Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice will be the first time both Batman and Superman will be featured in a major motion picture, something fans have been eagerly anticipating. However, this is by no means an original idea. The two faced off in the comic book The Dark Knight Returns. According to DePaul theater professor Brian McKnight, original storytelling or even the quality of an individual film isn't necessarily always the emphasis in starting a movie franchise.
There's almost this sense that don't worry if this movie is bad. We've got other movies coming. So, I think in that case there is a very strong sense that the art of the movie is going to be secondary at best.
Even though there is a growing emphasis on producing movies that will have the greatest bottom line in the box office, some viewers like Buchanan still see virtue in the kind of stories superhero and comic book movies can tell.
They hold up a mirror to society in an interesting way. They usually exist in, if not our world, a world very similar to ours. But there's these, fantastical beings who kind of show either humanity's biggest goals or biggest dreams at the time, or their biggest flaws.
Batman vs. Superman will be the first movie to feature Batman since Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. However, it remains to be seen what direction Zack Snyder will take with the dark anti-hero. Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice opens in theaters Friday, March 25th.
The entire human race. If we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
For Good Day to Paul, I'm Eric Trapphagen.
Greatest gladiator match.